But yeah, just wanted to say a very warm welcome to everyone. You've probably spoken to me or heard other presentations from me. So I'm Marta Schofield, and I'm a business development executive at Say Business School, and I oversee recruitment for the Deployment Strategy Innovation. So today, I really want to focus this session on the impact that the diploma had on some of our current and former students. So they're going to talk to you about their experiences. We have, for example, Heather, who changed jobs partway. She's still doing her diploma. Adam and Denny changed jobs after the diploma, and they're going to talk about, how it helped them in their career. I'm going to start with a very brief introduction to the diploma, just some kind of key dates, stats. What I want to do is, we've got a chat for comments, use a Q&A for questions as well. I want it to be very interactive, so make sure you've got a question for our panelists. I don't want to focus on any course logistics at this stage. If there is time at the end of the program, and at the end of the webinar, and you have any questions, very happy to answer them, but I'd like to move it kind of offline if possible and just focus on the panelist stories and return on investments, and just focus on the Oxford experience today, if that's okay with you all. I think that's it. Here we go. We've got Denny joining us as well. In the meantime, I'm just going to share my screen and, as I say, just start with a very brief presentation. Okay. So first of all, we have a portfolio of 5 executive diplomas. They're taught at a master's level, and the content is adapted from the Executive MBA program, which is a very prestigious program at Say Business School. Our diplomas are standalone qualifications, and they are specialist qualifications focusing on different subject areas. And this one specifically on strategy innovation. The way it works, it is a part-time 1-year qualification. All candidates are required to be on campus for the teaching element, which happens over 4 days for each module. So everyone needs to be in Oxford for 4 days for each module. And then in between the modules, you have the online element where you'll be working on some preparation materials for each module and also the assessments. So it's a very practical qualification. You'll be looking at different real-world challenges, case studies, thinking about your own setting, how you can apply the learnings from the academic side that is covered as part of the program. We only have 1 cohort next year, and it's starting on the 7th of February. And the program fee for 2024 intake is 30,890. So just more information on the date. So we've got module 1 in February, as I mentioned, module 2 in May, module 3 in July, and module 4 in October. And these are the dates when you're expected to be in Oxford for the program. Perfect. At the end of the module 4, you have your final assignment. So each module is assessed, but they are more kind of case study based assessments that you go through on module 1, 2, and 3. Module 4 is a bigger 6,000 word project where you will pick a question that you'd like to work on. And then based on your learnings from the program, you'll be answering that question in the essay format. And then in 2025, you'll have your formal graduation ceremony at the Sheldonian Theatre here in Oxford. For the online elements, as I mentioned, you'll be working on your assessments, you'll be preparing for each module, and we recommend setting aside about 6 to 8 hours a week for that element. But of course, it's more flexible, so we'll probably hear more from our panelists today as well, how they manage their time. But of course, with it being quite flexible, as long as you follow the deadlines and you prepare for the modules, it works really well for busy executives and working professionals. So in terms of the average class profile, as you can see, we have usually people represented from representation from all around the world. So it's a very mixed cohort that we usually get in this program. As you can see, quite a few people coming from Europe, but also good representation from Asia, Middle East, and as I mentioned, we get 1 or 2 participants from Latin America Australia and New Zealand. And actually, Adam, who we have on a panel today, is from Australia. He did complete the program during COVID, but it just shows the broad range of perspectives and insights that you get from the program from all around the world, but also different industries and sectors that I'll share in a second. The average age in the program is about 40 years, but we do have younger candidates in their kind of early 30s with very impressive career trajectories. And we have more experienced candidates in their 50s, 60s. Everyone's got their different story and different reasons for joining the program. But don't be afraid if you are maybe kind of in the younger bracket. If you feel this is the program for you, please get in touch and we can discuss it further. We usually have about 20 employment sectors, about 35 to 40% female representation, and about 25 different nationalities as well. And I did mention that I'm going to just briefly touch on kind of different job roles and companies that we have usually represented on the program. So again, it's a broad variety, people from financial services, consulting, tech, healthcare, entrepreneurs, people running and kind of doing different things in different organizations. And it's just a very quick snapshot of what you can expect as part of your class. Then also when you graduate, you become a full Oxford Business Alumni Network member, which means you can join a community of over 26,000 members. And it's not just, of course, a business school, it's a wider Oxford University. The alumni network is currently in 149 countries. We have over 20 regional chapters represented, and you can be as involved as you want to be and organize events, meetups in different locations where you're based and where there are other alumni as well. And I think that's it. So I don't think we've got any questions. I'll just quickly double check. But yeah, no questions at the moment. And I'm happy to move into the panel discussion. And as I say, if you do have any questions about the program, I'll try to cover them at the end. But I'm very delighted to welcome you to this panel discussion, introduce you to our panelists today. So Heather Calfee, who's a current diploma in strategy innovation student. And we've got Denny Boncheva and Adam Kay, who joined the diploma in 2021 during COVID, completed it in 2022. Denny and Adam actually were in two different cohorts, so they do have different perspectives on that as well. And I think I'm going to stop sharing the screen now so we can see everyone well. And otherwise, as I say, I'd like to focus this really on return on investment. So Heather, I'll start with you, since you've just recently changed jobs. Maybe you can let us know a little bit more about your Oxford experience to date. So Heather has completed 2 modules and we'll be back to Oxford for module 3 in September. And let us know about the impacts that the diploma had so far in your career.
Absolutely. First, before we start, Marta, I want to say thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this panel of incredible pioneers. It's such an incredible program and one that I will always be grateful for. So I'll just start with just my background. So I've been working for the U.S. federal government for about 18 years as a program manager, and I've led major acquisitions for aircraft, business enterprise systems, IT and support services, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance systems, and I've actually built software factories for the Air Force. Because of my unique opportunity with Oxford, I've been able to go from like a mid-level position supporting the Air Force to now a senior level position leading digital transformation within the Department of Defense, which is huge for me. I never thought that I would get to this point, nor did I ever think that I would be able to study at the University of Oxford. So I'm, like I said, extremely grateful. I think what helped a lot with that, with my current opportunity, is the fact that Oxford has positioned me as a strategic innovator that basically has like the skill sets and just mindset of driving innovation and be able to strategize using frameworks that they've shared with us to take a a compliant-driven organization, one to centered around innovation. And so I've been able to harness those tools and framework and communicate that to my leadership. And they've been excited to hear about the different methodologies and the different, how they've been successful for other businesses, and just being able to have those conversations and using the frameworks to be able to be able to solve some hard problems has been able to position me in a place where I can help the DoD effectively. Another thing that I've been able to benefit from Oxford is the cohort. The cohort is so incredible. So I have such a diverse cohort with incredible backgrounds and from several industries, and their drive, and it has been so inspiring. And because we have such diverse backgrounds, we're able to bring so many incredible ideas together to be able to strategize how we can improve businesses. And I'm a Govy, and most people know government people are very compliant driven. We're very structured. And I remember some of my cohorts saying to me, "Heather, you're way ttoo serious all the time." And I said, yes, I get that. But the cohort and Oxford has really opened me up to be more, just open to new ideas and just approach things differently. And so I'm really grateful for that. And additionally, the relationships I've been able to build with Oxford, Marta herself, and then the professors, oh my goodness, their background and the expertise that they have, to be part of that and to be able to learn from them has had a huge impact on me. And also, I believe my cohort has had the same impact on me as well. So because of all that, I've been able to advance in my career, and I think it really is because I have been able to partner with the most incredible school in the world that truly values innovation, truly values like people's ideas, and does not discriminate. And so I think being able to be part of something great like that has been able to position me in a great place.
That's great. Thank you so much, Heather. It's something I hear quite a lot. It's not just the academic part and the kind of faculty and professors that you learn from. It's from each other as well, from your classmates, and of course, yeah, when you're in person, then also there's further opportunities to meet up with other programs, other people in other groups and initiatives. So absolutely, I think it's definitely a big part of the program as well. So thank you very much. Adam, I'll move on to you. So I know you got a new role not long after completing the diploma as well. So let us know how the diploma helped you to get where you are now.
Yeah, we'll do. I'm based in Australia, and what experience studying at Oxford. I'll just kind of frame it. I joined the course or started the course during COVID, and Australia had a whole country lockdown, so I wasn't actually able to leave the country to actually attend Oxford for pretty much I think every single one of the modules. But that didn't detract from the experience for me whatsoever. Just frame how I got to do the course over took me about several years of actually kind of researching what was out there, what kind of courses related to what I was doing, where could I learn more about innovation, how could I advance my career. And I looked at loads of different universities, loads of different courses, and kept on coming back to the diploma. And so after several years, I kind of took the leap and actually did it. So many intangible and kind of tangible benefits. I think Heather covered loads, and I agree. The Oxford as an institution, it's world renowned. The history, the level of education, the level of knowledge. You kind of soak some of that up in a way. It just imparts something and has a particular feeling. And that was evident from day one. I remember coming off the first kind of lesson, the first module, and talking to my wife and saying, like, it was just wow. It was just so different to every single experience I'd had on my master's and on my degree, and that carried on throughout the course. The impact on my career, it helped me transition to a new role with a new organisation, a more senior role. So from a government organisation in a state in Australia to working at a multinational and looking after setting up an innovation function at a multinational and getting that off the ground as well. And I suppose it gave me the knowledge to do that, the confidence to do that, the personal confidence that I knew the scope of what I was to do. I could have a greater impact. But the course itself, I think, as well, one of those intangible things, I think you start to view the world kind of differently. As Heather says, there's kind of frameworks as a toolkit that you get, and the way that the classes are run, the way that you are forced to kind of interrogate things, the way that you work with a really diverse cohort who brings a multitude of perspectives and experience, and again that kind of forces you to consider your own view, but then bringing that to work as well. So bringing the ability to kind of bring this toolkit to bear, these different lenses to view the world, to view what you're working at, and have a greater appreciation for strategy, for innovation, not just what that looks like in my own context, in my own organisation, but through other people's eyes and their context as well. And that's a really, really rich experience. But so I now have a new role. The impact continues day by day. It's a wonderful experience.
Thank you very much, Adam. Maybe you can tell us later. Give us some specific examples on how you've been applying learnings. Maybe one framework or one tool, but we'll come to it later. So that'll be really useful. Denny, over to you. So I know Denny was headhunted post the diploma, and I know you felt the diploma helped you kind of during the interview process, application process. So it's not just about getting a new job and succeeding in that job, was actually helping throughout that kind of pre-new role process as well. So if you could let us know a little bit more, Denny, that'd be great.
Great. So I also joined the diploma during COVID, Adam. I think we were in different the cohorts, but I lived in the UK back then. So I've lived in the UK for 22 years. So it was a little bit closer to home, Adam. And then I was able to also join the last two modules in person, and it's so impressive actually to be on the ground and just experience this Oxford vibe. What I wanted to say is what I found myself throughout the whole program is that the content and the frameworks and toolkit has actually helped me to articulate what I have been doing for many, many, many years before in a much business language, and the vocabulary that it was giving me has actually helped me to articulate myself better, and to be able to see things from a different angle through the cohorts or the professors. It has given me this study bug that I think I'm going to continue, which I think Martha we have spoken about. But what happened is almost at the end of the actual program, I was headhunted. I worked for PepsiCo before, and I was headhunted for a really big role at Volvo Cars, basically to lead the whole data and analytics here at an enterprise level. And probably I would have been scared before taking on that huge role. But having the confidence, Adam, like you said, I said, well, I would just give it a go. I had to go through 8 steps or 8 stages, and in one of those stages, I had to articulate why did I think that the automotive industry is applicable to me as a data person. And in one of the actual modules, we were discussing the innovation that is coming through the automotive angle. And I could not believe that this was actually happening to me. I felt I was either lucky or the stars were actually aligning. And I was able to articulate why we thought, which in our cohort, we were debating whether Tesla will be, you know, the next big thing coming, or the incumbents were actually going to like catch up. And I was actually able to use the vocabulary and the framework that we built in, and I think that got me onto the next stage, and then I actually got the job. So it was so useful that I give full credit to the program for helping me to actually land this job currently. Thanks, Martha.
No problem at all. Thank you so much. Yeah, three amazing stories. I hope we are going to have some questions from the audience as well. Feel free to leave them in a Q&A, any comments in the chat as well. But I'll come back to you, Adam. I mentioned, you know, maybe if you have an example or two on specific learnings that you gained from the program, and just let us know a little bit more how you're applying them.
Yeah, I think I found it directly applicable. The course itself, you know, encouraged for the final integrated assignment, you know, we were all encouraged to actually apply it to a real world case. So I chose it in my last role. I chose, to apply it to what I was actually doing, used all the frameworks, used all the toolkits to kind of analyze what was going on at my organization. And make some recommendations, which ultimately my final integrated assignment formed a board paper and a presentation to the board on how we should change our approach to innovation in the organization. At the enterprise level, people, process, tools, etc. So it was directly applicable. I think it was quoted how many tools. I think we're into the hundreds in terms of the actual frameworks and kind of tools that we actually kind of gathered or amassed throughout the course. So there really is a tool for everything and every situation that you might encounter, from an innovation, from a strategy, from a change, from a digital transformation. We had lectures on philosophy, the philosophy of time, and as well, and there's still even elements of that which is so far removed from strategy itself, but there's still elements of the other activities that we did on the course that I find myself picking up, and just today as well, doing a pricing strategy. So my role is to kind of create new ventures, de-risk opportunities, and I bring out the frameworks. So the VRIO framework, looking at what has the organization got, what is valuable, what is rare, what is it, what can't be imitated, how will we set up as an organization to kind of wield that. So I use the frameworks, day in, day out, week in, week out, in what I do. And that was one of the best things about the course, was actually doing it and realizing from day one, it was a lot of theory, but that theory was directly related to real world examples, and I could take that, the frameworks, and actually use them on what I was doing. It's academic in the sense that you're learning, that you're studying, but it is directly applicable to the real world and to our roles.
Brilliant, thank you so much. And so your inspiration assignment, you mentioned, you worked on the strategy. Did your organization go ahead with the strategy, or is this the strategy that was implemented?
Elements that, I think there are elements that were ultimately taken forward, and I think certainly one of the biggest, the knowledge that you amass through the course, and the different perspectives that you get are really, really valuable. And maybe if we could frame one challenge, I mean, some of the final integrated assignment, was implemented. I think the challenge sometimes is the knowledge gap, and something I've had to really work on since actually completing the course. We have all these toolkits. I think Heather touched on it, sharing those and communicating those and actually educating other people. And I think that's certainly something I have to remind myself every single day to do, to actually bring people along on the journey. You amass so much knowledge, but bringing people along on that journey is the biggest challenge. And that assignment and that application in the real world took quite a lot of effort to actually do, to actually kind of upskill and educate people. But with that Oxford badge, you get a lot of credit, you get a lot of kudos and a lot of respect for having done that. And in respect to my career, yeah, that's really helped how I can position myself in the different types of conversations that I have with people.
Brilliant, brilliant. No, thank you so much. Yeah, Heather, I want to come back to you. Have you managed to, obviously, having done 2 modules, having just completed your second assignment, do you have any examples of, you know, having the chance to implement these models and frameworks? Yeah, so let me know. And obviously, you come from a slightly, well, a sector that is not represented always in our diplomas, so quite unique background. So let me know, you know, whether you found any kind of differences in what maybe your classmates are saying, what they're doing in terms of their learnings, and how it's applicable to you as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marta. So yes, I come from the public sector, and as you guys know, it's challenging to push innovation. But so I've done 2 modules already, and I'm learning so much. The last module really hit me though, which is innovation strategy. And what hit me about it is, so the organization I come from, right? We are we try to be an innovative force, okay? But because the way they're structured in the history, we're very traditional in how we approach things, and everything's compliant driven. And so one of the things in the last module that hit me was that we talked about what Clay Christensen says about disruptive technology, specifically about customers' fallacy. You know, in my organization, we're trying to innovate as much as possible, but what we're doing is we're doing pocket innovation. And so, and we're doing that in an environment where it's just our resources and our values and processes are not structured to enable those innovations to its full potential. And again, a lot of that is because of the the customer fallacy, where Clay Christensen says that if you, and I wrote it down here just to make sure I say it correctly. Hold on. Where he says that companies concentrating only on customer desires can hinder innovation. And our customers are so used to the traditional ways of doing things. And when we're trying to structure ourselves around innovation, we have to be able to use those innovative principles and implement them. But with the customer fallacy, if we just cater so much to our customers who we're trying to educate and transform, it's held us back a lot to our greatest potential. And our customers not only shape the product in my organization, but they also shape, our processes, our value, and our resources. And so, if all those are structure aligned to the customer's, current values, then we won't see the transformation of the innovation that we want to see within our organization. So we have to approach it in a way that we educate customers on the value they can get from this, new innovative approach. And in doing that, it will allow us to align our resources, align our values, and align our processes. And I think with a government organization, when they approach it that way, they'll be able to effectively get after, in my organization, advanced technologies. And so that stuck with me, in the last module. And I think what Oxford does is it gives you that expertise, and that confidence to be able to explain that to my leadership, at least, and to convince them that, hey, there is a path forward, but there needs to be some organizational changes, which no one likes to hear. And this is a pathway to do that. And Oxford educates us on how to communicate that, and gives us the tool sets to reference to make sure we do that transition effectively. So Marta, I've learned a lot so far, even in the 2 modules that I've been in. And I've been so privileged to be able to learn from, Mark and our professors, and Tim and so forth. So it's been a great opportunity.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, what I'm hearing a lot is, the diploma is giving confidence and also ability to formulate strategies and, talk to different stakeholders. Yeah, that's great. Danny, I'm sure a lot of this resonates, and you mentioned in your introduction as well, but do you have anything to add at all about your experience?
No, not really, no.
Yeah, there's no problem at all. Yeah, what about your final assignment? Did you find, did you do it on PepsiCo?
Yeah, so I would say no. For IP reasons, I have to create a made-up company name to remain nameless. And what I did is I set it up. My assignment was how you build a global data and analytics team, and I think that that also helped me to also land this job, because I was able to use my knowledge from before versus what I think should happen. And I was referencing a lot of the frameworks and ways of working and operations, how I would approach a role like this using the Oxford course. So it's been I can't even say how useful it has been. I'm trying to figure out whether it was just timing for me or something else happened. But I really believe that I would not have been here. And I moved my family to Sweden, so we live in Sweden currently. So the whole change has been a transformation for everybody within my family following that crazy journey that we have embarked on, thanks to Oxford, actually.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. We've got a couple of questions from the audience, and there's one from Kat. I work full time, so how might I manage the course alongside a day job? Has anybody done it like this, and what time frame would you say is realistic? So we do say, of course, yeah, Jenny, I'll come back to you in a second, because we do say, of course, the program is designed for working professionals, and ideally we want everyone to be in a full-time job, because as everyone is saying, it's a practical qualification, and we want you to be able to apply the learnings, not 2-3 years later, but straight away. So it is designed in that way, but of course it's better to hear from those who have done it. Adam, I'll probably come back to you later, because of course we've got Heather and Denny who also have kids. So not just a job, but also family commitments. So Denny, yeah, if you've got something to say on this, please do.
Yeah, you can definitely do it while working full time. You just need to be mindful of the fact that you need to be away from work. So you would have to get that approved and signed off and as a study leave. I think it's also be good to mention that, you know, when you have children, you're away for a week or whatever, so that obviously has an impact, depends on how old they are. So you need a partner, husband and a wife that can understand you going on that journey. And there is also a lot of reading to be done, which I think I know we would testify. There's quite a bit of pre-reading, so you just need to be ready to be pushed in a way, but in a way that helps you grow. So you can definitely do it. You shouldn't be worried about it. We have done it and we're still alive, and you know we still thrive. But it is just a short stint where you really need to focus your attention to this. But yeah, highly recommend it.
Thank you very much. Heather, what are your thoughts? I mean, you've got you've got two beautiful girls as well.
I will say first that my husband and girls would say, "Mommy, stop talking about everything you learned at Oxford." I say, well, you don't realize it's helping me remember and just absorb the information, because it's just so good, but also it helps me prepare for my big assignments. No, but I would say that you just got to be a great planner, right? You just have to be proactive. But the good thing is that the professors really work hard to make sure that you understand the takeaways and make sure that you can apply the frameworks that they're going over. And there is a lot of reading, but the way that I tackle the readings is I tackle as basically saying, okay, what can I get from it? How can I apply it? And then if there's gaps, what are those gaps? And then how can I, improve those gaps? But if you make it kind of like put yourself in those, the situation scenarios and see how you can apply the information, it becomes more real to you. And then just the other thing is just, when it comes to the assignments, one thing I love about Oxford, and I think I told Marta, I said, I'm never going to leave if Oxford allows it. But is that you're able to take this information and just and create your own message through it, right? And so you're able to just use your own voice. I got scared of Oxford. I was like, there's no way that I'm going to go to Oxford because, I don't speak like them. They are the elite, the best, But what I know is that Oxford wants to hear your voice. They want to hear your experience. They want you to show how you would apply the framework to make change. And because of that, it's just inspired me in every assignment. And I think when you have that passion, you'll find a way to make it work.
Thank you very much. And over to you, Adam, now, but you had a different challenge being based, in Australia with classes being delivered online. So yeah, let us know how you coped with that, and anything else you'd like to add.
I think second what Heather and Denny said, my boy was two, just over two at the time, and being in Australia, I started study about 7 or 8 p.m. and it ran through to 3 a.m. But you just fit it in. You fit it in, and kind of life, you plan, you do the reading, and then you make it work. And, on graduation, I realized it is a team effort. The whole family kind of support. Everyone has to kind of work around it and support you. But my little boy now, all I said to him throughout me doing the course, he said, well, Daddy, why are you doing your study? Why are you doing your learning? I said, because if you're not learning, you're not growing. And he now repeats that. He says that all the time. If I'm not learning, Dad, I'm not growing. And no matter what age you are, you learn, you grow. And Oxford is stretching, it is challenging. The volume of reading is significant, but as Heather says, there is something you get from every single piece, and you can look it through your own lens, to your own role. And that's the immediate benefit. You read this thing for the first time, think about how you might apply it. What does that mean for you? And even before you've actually turned up for the lectures, for the study, you're already thinking about it and applying it. You're encouraged in the sessions to communicate your experience. And there's no right or wrong. It's your experience, and you talk about it through your lens. And that's one of the most refreshing things. Thinking I'm in a room full of people that were VPs from Microsoft. There was all sorts of, career people with 30 years experience. And for a second, I thought I really shouldn't be here. But then you're encouraged in a way to talk about it through your lens and how you view these frameworks and how you would use these toolkits. And all of a sudden you realize that your perspective matters, and that you've learned something and you can take it away and use it.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a really good point, Adam. But as you say, every perspective matters, and it's not just about being able to learn from the program. It's also the contribution that you bring to the program that's really important. So we try to have a class of, as I mentioned, different nationalities, different perspectives, and this is what really enhances the whole experience as well, and the learning journey. Brilliant. Okay. Well, Kat called you superhumans, and I completely agree, with being able to manage everything else that's happening in your lives. We've got a question about potentially completing an MBA, and I think I'll shift it to executive MBA. So Heather and Adam, I'm not sure whether you have any story about thinking about doing an executive MBA, or maybe this is something, Adam, you looked at as well. But Denny, I know you have been considering an executive MBA. So what stage are you at now? And, do you still want to do an executive MBA, or do you feel the diploma gave you what you needed, or maybe that was just at that particular time?
Yeah, I still do. I think as I mentioned earlier, I think I've got the study bug, and I feel that executive MBA is probably going to help me take me to the next step in terms of what I want to do. In terms of timings, I'm still trying to figure out what is the right timing to do that. There have been too many changes in the family life, but it is something that I am planning to do at least over the next 2 years or 3 years. And I think I'll probably get even more out of it. Especially, I kind of know my weakness and the areas that I would like to focus on. So I know that I will spend more time on a specific area within the executive MBA.
Yeah, very interesting, because so what I hear as well from my experience, a lot of candidates do join the deployments because they've been either out of education for too long, or they just don't have that time, because executive MBA is a lot more intense. So they join diplomas, and some of them, just stop there. Some of them continue on to executive MBA. So again, everyone has their own story and why they would do diploma before the executive MBA. But a lot of the time, it's either time or just kind of that fear of coming back to a 2-year intense program when you can do a more flexible 1-year program to start with, see how you get on, and then move into executive MBA. Adam, since you were researching the programs for so long, I'm assuming you would have considered the executive MBA as well. So do you have anything to add to that?
I think I'd love to do it in the future. The stars have got to align, and where we are in terms of family. But it's there. I guess the diploma. The diploma gave me an appetite it gave me back my appetite for learning, having been out of education, for 10 or 15 years, and what I've taken away from the diploma is I read I've continued to read, continue to look at journals, look at articles. It's really inspired me to do that. So the learning process hasn't stopped, and I think it'd be great to do a formal qualification again in the future. Oxford will be first on the list. There'll be no doubt that I'll be coming back to those classrooms and to that building to do the study. There's nowhere else would compare.
Brilliant, thank you very much. We actually also see some people who complete a number of diplomas. So again, because executive MBA is so broad, some people do find that they don't want to learn every single subject, related to business. So you'll be covering HR, leadership, marketing, negotiation, and some people just kind of pick 2 or 3 diplomas that they want to complete. In this way, they kind of focus on specific areas, and that's also another route. Heather, just wanted to come back to you for a second and see whether you were considering doing an executive MBA at all, or the diploma was the program for you and you never kind of considered anything else.
Thank you, Marta. So Marta, I would love to come back to Oxford and definitely do the executive MBA program. I tell people that if you could ever have a drink or go to dinner with the people that are in my cohort or the professors, said you would benefit so much from that one meeting. I said, because you always hear there's a saying that when you say, for instance, you meet an entrepreneur in a bar and they put an idea on a napkin. Well, that idea coming from Oxford students can turn into $1 million, strategy. So you don't want to pass up on that opportunity. So I wouldn't want to pass up on the executive MBA opportunity. I know what we get out of that, and it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for your perspective. So hopefully that answered the question. We don't have any more questions from the audience related to the experiences. There is a question on maybe other collaborations or partnerships that we have that enhance the learning experience. And I'm going to mention that, of course, when you join, say, business school, it's not just, say, business school. We are part of the Oxford University ecosystem. So we have different groups, initiatives that you can join. Like Heather mentioned, innovation is a big subject at the school, and there are different, as I say, different initiatives that are happening around it. We've got Entrepreneurship Centre, which is a completely different department that supports all of our students who are either looking to launch their business, looking for support and mentoring. They have a pool of advisors who can connect you with. Some of our students who are experienced entrepreneurs, they also go and provide their services and advice there, for example. There are so many different groups and networks that you can join, that maybe we can briefly talk about the Oxford networks, and maybe some panelists can tell us about communities or groups that you've joined, and maybe have you managed to utilize the Oxford networks at all yet, maybe as alumni students. Denny, you can start with that.
I think I tried and then I relocated, so it didn't really work out. But I was for sure introduced to quite a few groups. I think even when we did our graduation, in July, there was a huge meeting of alumni and dinners and global leaders meetings. So I think that was actually quite nice, where we all got together. Apparently, I have heard that maybe some more will come like that. So I'm very proud to be part of the group and the cohorts that will graduated together. But due to my move, I really have not been able to actually focus on that. Maybe some of the others have done more.
Adam, do you have anything to add?
Just that. So keeping, having an awareness of Oxford, and I think you touched on the entrepreneurship and the startups. So I keep an eye on that and have engaged with startups that are coming out of the university that are directly applicable. Having that link to the school really helps as well to approach those. There's a commonality. So when looking for investments, we're looking for partnerships. It's an easier door to open. But I did make contact with the Entrepreneurship Centre when I was on the course as well, and talking about possible collaborations, learning and actually contributing to their programs and shaping some of those. So that was a really enjoyable experience. But I think I'll touch as well, just the actual cohort itself, and such a wealth of opportunity. We've got the friendly bands on the WhatsApp, the WhatsApp group, sharing jokes, celebrations, family stories, holidays, etc. But I've also partnered with a few people. We're kind of exploring what we might do in terms of the business venture. So that in itself, and those networks from studying, from staying up late, with people, and having that shared experience will hopefully bear. I'll be able to bear the fruit of that.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Adam. And Heather, you obviously are currently on the program. So have you managed to get to know any other networks while on the program yet?
So in our last module, we got to learn about the Entrepreneur Center. And, I'm a typical Govie, so I never, thought about entrepreneurship. And so being at Oxford has inspired me to think about entrepreneurship opportunities. And I even see the people in my cohort, they're so excited. They're, going over to the Entrepreneur Center and getting support and guidance on, how to materialize their idea, or, get advice on how to strategize an idea. And so just that support there is incredible. And it's just another example of how Oxford can help, accelerate your, what you're passionate about. And so I'm hoping to really take advantage of that opportunity at some point.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Yeah, just wanted to add as well that as part of the program, in terms of the learning experience, so you have a program lead, so a faculty member who will be leading on each module, but they'll invite guest speakers. Sometimes you'll meet other alumni who will be maybe exploring a case study with you during one of the modules. And some previous cohorts, I also know students organized for some from their network to come and talk about specific subjects as well. So these are the opportunities that we very much welcome. So the programs team try to organize more of that, but also if students have other sessions they'd like to explore, and especially if they're happy to arrange it, this is something we are happy to facilitate as part of the program. And also this year we introduced executive impact and executive insight series, where you hear additionally from different faculty members on different topics, whether it's entrepreneurship, finance, leadership, and also some topics kind of related to career development, on personal branding and storytelling. And these are all kind of online sessions that you have access to as well. So yeah, as we said, there's plenty going on in person. You will be part of the ecosystem at the Oxford University. Oxford University itself organizes plenty of events. You'll be part of one of the colleges. Of course, you can explore the networks within those colleges. And of course, whatever say business school office as well. This is something you'll be invited to as part of the program, and post graduation as well. Okay, so we don't have any more questions in our Q&A, which is great. What I'm going to do, we only have 6 minutes left, so I'm going to quickly move on to the application process for those who are still with us and if you are, happy to proceed and join us next year, then hopefully these instructions will help you. And then if we have any more time at the end and any quick questions, I'm very happy to cover those as well. So very briefly, Adam, you've got a question.
It's not a question, sorry, it's more a comment, and I should have touched on it right at the start, really, in terms of the impact. And I suppose it's that ROI, and why you just talk about the application. And I think in terms of return on investment, from a purely financial kind of perspective, I think a lot of myself personally, I achieved that within 12 to 18 months of doing the course. So it was, an investment money well spent, and a lot of my cohort experienced the same as well. So I just wanted to raise that as well, kind of, Marta, that it is money well spent.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I did mention at the beginning, I was just hoping that, all of these examples in terms of networks, learning, it just proved that it is a valuable return on investment, and you do get a lot out of it. Absolutely. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Adam. So just going back to the application process, is all online. It's less strict than the executive MBA, for example. You're not going to have any formal interviews or tests. No GMAT is required. So you just need to register online, and we will require to see your up-to-date CV, then a transcript of all of your full degrees. So bachelor's, master's, certificates of your PhDs, all of the full degrees that you mentioned on your CV and as part of application. We do need to see them. And the transcripts are the mark sheets with the modules and grades that you got. So I think in different countries we have maybe different terms, so it can be quite confusing, but it's the full mark sheet of what you completed as part of that particular program that you specified. Then we'll need two references. So it could be either two professional references or one academic and one professional reference. And we'd like to hear from people who know you well professionally, who can comment on your achievements and on your candidacy for the program as well. Then we'll need two essays from you. And the first one is on your motivations for applying for the diploma. Second one on your achievements in your current role and why you joined that role. And last but not least, if you're not a native speaker, you will be required to prove your English language ability. And that could be done in three ways. Either you completed a full degree no longer than 2 years ago, they'll qualify you for the waiver. You can either pass IELTS or TOEFL or one of the English exams. Alternatively, if you have been living in a English-speaking country and working in an English environment for over 2 years, then you can just write a very short statement explaining explaining your experiences in English, and that will qualify you for a waiver on a professional basis as well. And if you don't have, sorry, I didn't specify. So the criteria is that you need to have a minimum of a bachelor's degree and at least 5 years of solid, relevant work experience. And as I mentioned, we do have younger candidates. We do have very experienced candidates joining the program, so it's a very mixed bunch. If you don't have a degree, but you do have quite a few years of senior executive level experience as well, please get in touch if you're considering this program, because the admissions committee do allow exemptions on these programs, and we can discuss it further separately. Last but not least, next steps, if we haven't spoken yet, and if you haven't started your application yet, feel free to download a brochure to learn more about the program, submit your CV for review. I'm happy to give feedback on your eligibility for the program, and feel free to set up a call with me as well if you have any further questions about costs, scholarships, or anything else. Very happy to connect and discuss it further. And I think on this note, I'm going to stop. I don't think we've got any more questions. But yeah, thank you so much for joining today. All the attendees, I'm pretty sure you're joining us from around the world. We've got, whole globe represented today with, as I said at the beginning, States, Australia, Sweden, and the UK as well. And this is exactly what you can expect in your cohort, people from all around the world. So thank you so much to our panelists. I hope the attendees, found this session useful and helpful in terms of deciding on the next kind of educational step. But otherwise, yeah, just want to wish a good day or good night wherever you're based. Hopefully, we'll see you soon. Those who are planning to apply next year, hopefully we'll meet next year. And otherwise, panelists, hopefully I'll connect with you at some point very soon as well. So thank you so much, everyone. And yeah, all the best.